You want to know Donald Trump's defense for trying to money launder a $400 million plane from the Qatar government that he's in business with through the American people and American taxpayer out the back door to Donald Trump after he leaves office as a tax-free gift? You want to know his defense for that and his defense for making hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in the meme coin cryptocurrency business while he's president of the United States? You want to know his defense? Well, all you got to do is listen to Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary. Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, said, I'm appalled by the question. Donald Trump left a lap of luxury twice. He's not in this for the money. Yeah, we're going to break it all down right here on Legal AF. Take a minute, hit the subscribe button. You keep this kind of content coming. Caroline Leavitt was asked during a press conference, a presser, on the heels of both of these scandals, which any one scandal would have engulfed a presidency leading to his impeachment. But two, a week apart, we just call that par for the course with Donald Trump, don't we? That's why we got to continue to keep calling it out. Last week's scandal du jour, which Senator Chris Murphy called the largest grift or scandal in presidential history, had to do with Donald Trump turning the White House into Trump Incorporated and trying to turn on and make it a moneymaker, make it a money printer for the Trump family through meme coins. He controls the meme coin. He controls the meme coin market. He controls the fees that are paid for the buy and sell of meme coins that he controls. He doesn't care about the price. He cares about earning the brokerage fee. And the more he pumps and the more he dumps, the more money ends up in his family's business pockets. And so far, it's heading north of $500 million. It will be, sit down for this number, several billion dollars that Trump made while he was supposedly doing the people's business from the people's house and the White House. He's selling access to the White House, as we know, through meme coin. You want to get a friendly audience with Donald Trump? You want to curry favor with them as a foreign entity? You can't make a political donation because we don't allow it, but you can buy his meme coins and you can put money in his pocket that way. Doesn't that violate the emoluments clause of the Constitution, Popok? It does. However, we have to file those lawsuits and have that decided by the federal courts. That was last week's scandal. This week's scandal is the Qatar airplane bullshit. Let me just dispel any myth here. Even if Donald Trump were successful in doing this, and I don't see it happening, this would be a money laundering, tax evading grift of epic proportion that we've never seen. He just screwed his partners and his investors because they're probably wondering, well, we just signed a $5 billion deal with Qatar. Qatar, also the country that our Department of Justice head, Pam Bondi, was a registered lobbyist for. We just gave them a $5 billion deal to develop a golf course, waterfront golf course of some sort. And Donald Trump gets the $400 million plane. Why doesn't that come to us and fall to our bottom line? Because Donald Trump doesn't want that. He wants a tax-free gift from the Qatari government for having his son sign a deal on the golf course. So you got that grift going on. I mean, there's many problems with the Qatar airplane. First of all, it would take years to retrofit that airplane and make it secure to use as Air Force One. It has to be bomb-proof. It has to be swept for bugs. It has to be reconfigured and remodeled. Donald Trump will never live to fly inside this plane, which is probably okay with him because he really doesn't want to use it for Air Force One. He wants to take it out the back door and fly away with it, literally, fly away with it without congressional approval to his Trump Foundation. So he has a nice big fat plane to fly around with instead of his old fallen down Air Force Trump Force One. So Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, was asked at a press conference to explain Trump and how this is not an ethics violation. Before we play it, let me just tell you. She says he's the most transparent about his finances. We still have never seen his tax returns, except for those that were leaked by a family member in a dispute, and it ended up going to the New York Times, and they won, I think, a Pulitzer for it. But we've never really seen his tax returns in that way. That's one. He's not transparent about anything related to his meme business. If you filed a Freedom of Information Act request with the government and said, give me all the information about Donald Trump's meme stock sales, cryptocurrency sales, benefiting his family while he's been on the company dole, while he's been doing our business, I'm sure it would be rejected and we'd have to fight for it. But that's the backdoor way Donald Trump's lining his pockets, right? So no transparency. We don't, where's the agreement with Qatar? Where's the amount of money that's transpired between the two parties? Where is that allocated and disclosed? Yeah. Well, none of the details are disclosed of it. The Qataris are already backing away from the deal. They're like, well, a little premature. We're not really sure. We've worked out all the details because they see the firestorm around this. Donald Trump has also, they said he's always at the highest level, best practices of conflicts and resolving conflicts of interest. He just fired his law firm, Quinn Emanuel, top law firm in New York, to be his ethics counsel for the Trump organization because they decided to also represent Harvard and they're involved against the Trump administration in the Abrego Garcia case. Let's play the clip.
You noted he is a successful businessman. Do you know if the president has any plans to meet with any of the folks involved with any of the family businesses over there or see any of the sites that are going to be
Not to my knowledge, and let me just get to the premise of your question that both of you have raised. I think it's frankly ridiculous that anyone in this room would even suggest that President Trump is doing anything for his own benefit. He left a life of luxury and a life of running a very successful real estate empire for public service, not just once, but twice. And again, the American public reelected him back to this White House because they trust he acts in the best interest of our country and putting the American public first. This is a president who has actually lost money for being president of the United States. I don't remember these same type of questions being asked of my predecessor about a career politician who was clearly profiting off of this office. That is not what President Trump does, and this White House holds ourselves to the highest of ethical standards.
You know, she's a human meat puppet. You know, she's like the Trump piñata. They send, except she's more nefarious than that. Yeah, this is all about propaganda. Donald Trump left a lap of luxury. What lap? He's in the White House with hundreds of attendants that wait on him hand and foot on the people's expense. His feet never touch the ground when he moves from place to place. He doesn't want for anything. So he didn't leave the lap of luxury to do what? Into another lap of luxury? I don't really understand that point. And he left it at great personal sacrifice to him. What great personal sacrifice? He's making more money than he ever has in the history of his businesses from the perch of the White House. Billions of dollars. Okay. By the time he got elected again, he still has a $500 million judgment against him in New York for civil fraud, a $100 million judgment against him by E. Jean Carroll. And he's got other lawsuits that are out there. And so he was upside down until his company went public, DJT, for Truth Social. He was on the balls of his ass. You know, he's been completely rejuvenated, completely recapitalized by being president and using it to convert his power into currency. That's what we're watching. So I just find it remarkable that, you know, somebody like Carolyn Levitt could just look the American people in the eye and lie to them. But nothing is shocking. Nothing is surprising. We're going to continue to follow it. These two scandals are not over. The House Democrats and the House Senators, the Democratic senators won't let it, which is a good thing. And we'll continue to follow it right here on Legal AF. Take a moment, hit the free subscribe button. Come on over to Legal AF, the Substack. We're posting a lot of documents there as well. And new information and analysis you can only find on Legal AF Substack. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.